From the Hussman School of Journalism and Media at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, covering the full range of Tar Heel athletics. This is Sports Extra.
The football team is ranked number 14 in the national poll. Good morning and welcome to Sports Extra. I'm Barbara Joy Tillman.
And I'm Caroline Yaffa. With football being 4-0, fans hope that the bye week will give the team the much-needed rest they need to keep the winning streak alive. The number one ranked UNC women's soccer team faced NC State Saturday night in Raleigh in an in-state rivalry game, looking to remain undefeated. The Tar Heels started off dominant with freshman Evelyn Shores scoring in minute 5 off a corner kick. Later in the half, UNC added to that lead. Sophomore Tori Della Pruta made the shot in the 30th minute, and the ball bounced off the inner top of the net for the goal. The Heels took control quickly in the second half as well. Redshirt sophomore Allie Setnor scored 34 seconds into the half with a straight shot into the back of the net. The final goal came from sophomore Kaylee her first career goal. UNC won the game 4-0, continuing their streak. For a closer look into the Heels' takedown of NC State, let's go to our women's soccer analyst Caroline Daly for Soccer on the Daily. Caroline?
Caroline, the Heels remain undefeated after beating the Wolfpack this weekend. The offense was on fire. The Heels had 4 goals from 4 different players. UNC came out strong. 4 minutes into the matchup, the Heels got a corner kick. And we see Emily Moxley pass the ball to Evelyn Shores, who heads the ball and it hits the right post and goes into the back of the net. This was her 4th goal of the season. Carolina doubled its lead when Emily Moxley drives towards the goal and kicks the ball, but an NC State player is going to kick it back to UNC's Tori Della Pruta. She is going to take a massive shot from 25 yards out that hits the crossbar and goes in for the goal. The Heels came out hot again right at the start of the second half. There were not 1, not 2, but 6 NC State players right on Allie Setnor, but that did not stop her from getting a goal. She takes a shot towards the center of the goal that goes in for the 3rd goal of the game. And this was her 3rd straight game with a goal. This clearly took all the energy out of the Wolfpack, and they seemed very tired the rest of the game. The 4th and final goal of the game came off a corner kick from Melina Rabimbas to Kate Fossey, who heads the ball, and it slips from the NC State goalie's gloves, and Kaylee Her is right there to put it in the back of the net and give the Heels the lead 4-0. Following this big win, fans are excited for the Heels to come back to Dorrance Field this week when they face Miami on Thursday. Caroline?
Caroline, you've talked a lot about the Heels' offense during this game, but what about the defense?
Caroline, UNC was much more aggressive and physical during this game. They kept NC State shotless during the second half, and this is the 5th time the Heels have held their opponents without a shot during a half this season.
I can't wait to see what the Heels have in store this Thursday. Thanks, Caroline.
On Friday night, the undefeated UNC men's soccer team continued ACC play against the University of Pittsburgh. The Tar Heels struggled to get the offense rolling the entire game without leading scorer Quincy Airmon, who picked up a red card in the match against Duke. Their defense proved to be strong, allowing only 4 shots on goal. The Heels are 2nd in the ACC in goals allowed this season, and UNC was unable to get the ball into the net and settled for yet another tie to bring their record to 4-0-4. The Heels will take on Elon tomorrow night at Dorrance Field. Now, we know the saying, defense wins championships. Well, in this case, defense earned us a draw too. Let's go to men's soccer analyst Caroline Routh for Caroline's Corner. Caroline?
BJ, in the team's first ACC battle on the road, the score was a clean 0-0. Now, you might think this result is a disappointment, but let me tell you a little something. Keeping Pitt scoreless at home is a major accomplishment. Let's see exactly how they got it done. So in this play, Pitt takes the ball up the right side of the field. And as you can see right here, UNC's Vemund Holvik sees that he can't catch up with Pitt striker, so he puts his hand up in the air, signaling to Juan Cafaro to step up and defend tight, while Holvik drops back into the center of the box. Now UNC defense forces Pitt to the sideline and makes them send off a cross. The ball gets over here to this Pitt attacker, who then gets a header off. Now this might seem like a good thing, but for a second here, let's just think about the angle. If you're going to let the offense get the ball off, at least give it to them at a hard angle. Well, that's exactly what the Heels did. So Pitt sends the header into the goalpost, and then UNC defense rebounds it, clears it out, and left the Heels unscathed from this play. Now let's check out another defensive set. In this play, you can see Pitt's number 10, Guillermo Fitosa, will find an alley between these 6 UNC defenders. So he plays the ball to Albert Thorson. Now, if you look right here, Albert Thorson is in a very dangerous spot. Pitt has worked its way past 6 UNC defenders. The ball is at the top of the box. It's not looking good for the Heels. But what do? Well, they crash in on Thorson, and they cause him to send a frantic shot that flies way over the goal. Another escape for the UNC defense. A game like this is bound to come down to the wire. The last few minutes is the time to pull ahead and claim the victory, but the Heels weren't going to let that happen. So in this play, Pitt does a very nice job of passing through UNC's defense and taking the right touches with only inches of space. But as you're about to see, Pitt's Filip Mikovic gets the ball at the top of the box and sends off a lefty strike with Carolina defense pinching in around him. Andrew Cortez makes a fantastic save, as you just saw, in the keeper's second start of the season for the Tar Heels. The UNC defense was able to hold off the Panthers' offense and end their home field scoring streak. BJ?
Caroline, it seems like the Heels defense prevented a loss this weekend, but the offense just couldn't pull out a win. What do they need to do moving forward?
Well, BJ, the Heels had strong offensive looks. I think if they can look past power and also consider placement with their shots, they'll be beating teams in no time. I know I'm excited to see how they do against Elon tomorrow.
Thanks, Caroline.
Following 2 consecutive ACC wins, the UNC field hockey team traveled to take on number 13 St. Joseph's on Sunday. Though St. Joseph's took an early lead, the Heels were quick to even the score, taking the lead by the half with a no time on the clock penalty corner by Sietska Bruning. Senior forward Peyton Worth sent the Hawks flying home with the final goal of the match, bringing down the Hawks 4-1. Hoping to continue their win streak, the Heels will be playing Boston College on Friday at 4 p.m. at Karen Shelton Stadium. After the impressive win, let's send it over to field hockey analyst Riley Kennedy with Inside the Cage.
Caroline, now UNC has elite players. They've shown it every game this season. Now, what do elite players do that just average players don't do? Number 1, footwork, quick feet. Coaches say it every day. Number 2, how they work in extremely tight spaces and situations. We'll see that next. Number 3, awareness. It's situational awareness, though. It's in moments that don't happen often. How do you execute that as a player? First one, 3.4 seconds left on the clock, right? It's a corner. Now, for St. Joe's, you want to get it past this dotted circle. You're going to see the insert here. How do they work, right? You work on this in practice, right? It's situational, but it doesn't happen often. Sietska gets it. She passes it back to Riley. This is tight spaces, right? How do you work in tight spaces? This is excellent. Gives it back to Sietska. She flips it in and scores. Right? You're going to see on the replay. It's tight spaces, right? Perfect. Situational awareness. Now, Riley Hack, she has all 3, right? Footwork, tight spaces, awareness. Check it out. I've said it all season. Riley Hack's amazing. So 3 defenders on her, right? How do you create space? Go one way, drags the defenders out and go back, right? Footwork, elite footwork, right? Situation. You don't get this all the time. They're bringing 3, right? She's elite. She comes back. She's going to air dribble it, gets it past the goalie and scores. Riley Hack's elite, right? She shows up in big time moments. Now, UNC breeds elite athletes with elite talent. I've said it all season. Starts with footwork, working in tight spaces, having situational awareness. 7 straight wins, Caroline. This team's looking dangerous.
Riley, what do the Tar Heels need to do to beat Boston College on Friday?
I'll be honest, Boston College is 1-4 against top 10 teams this season. Not the best. They don't, they kind of give up goals, right? They don't score as much, right, as UNC in Chapel Hill. Tar Heels have the advantage.
Totally agree. Thanks, Riley.
After beating Queens in a dual meet in Charlotte on Friday, UNC Swim Dive hosted Swim Across America at Corey Natatorium on Sunday to raise money for the Lineberger Cancer Research and Treatment Center at UNC. Reed Miller has the story.
The UNC community will swim as many laps as possible to raise money for the Lineberger Cancer Center. Not only are the members of the swim and dive team participating, alumni, local club teams, as well as members of the UNC community are also making a splash, something head coach Mark Gangloff holds close to his values.
To me, this event is all about community. It's about bringing together a lot of different people for one common cause, which is to beat cancer.
Cancer hits very close to home for many Tar Heels on the team. Head of operations Carrie Cleary was suddenly diagnosed with stage 1 breast cancer on May 17th, soon after completing the Boston Marathon.
1 month exactly to the date. May 17th, I was diagnosed with breast cancer, stage 1, so it was early. But as of today, I am cancer-free and on a hormone treatment that I will be on for the next 5 to 10 years.
The Carolina community was able to raise more than $135,000 for the Lineberger Cancer Treatment Center, breaking the record for the most money raised in a single swim event for Swim Across America.
I can't believe that we've raised so much money that will go directly to research that hopefully will provide those treatments going forward.
Swim Across America has become an integral part of the team and is now an annual event in the fall. I am Reed Miller reporting.
After a busy weekend, the Tar Heels will travel to Wilmington looking to defeat the Seahawks later this month.
The UNC volleyball team headed down to Tallahassee, Florida for a tough match against Florida State on Friday night. Mabry Schaffmaster had her 8th straight double-digit performance with a match best 15 kills. FSU had a .370 hitting percentage, and the Heels fell to the Seminoles in 3 sets. On Sunday, the result wasn't much better against Miami. Safi Hampton had 18 kills in her first career start, but 11 service errors really hurt the Heels, and the Heels took a disappointing 3-1 loss to the Canes. UNC plays Louisville this Friday.
In women's tennis, freshman Thea Rabman is on to the qualifying rounds of the ITA All-American Tournament in Cary. The Long Island native won 3 consecutive matches during the weekend and pre-qualifying to earn a spot into the qualifying draw. She beat all of her opponents in straight set matches, downing players from Colorado, Southern Cal, and Austin Peay. Rabman will be competing with 5 of her teammates in the qualifying draw that begins today. Those teammates are Abby Forbes, Elizabeth Scotty, Carson Tangelig, Lindsay Zink, and Annika Yarlagata. Fiona Crawley and Reese Brantmeyer will launch into the main draw on Wednesday. UNC men's tennis also competed in the first leg of the ITA All-American Championship this weekend. Peter Murphy and Will Peters represented the Heels in the singles rounds in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Murphy fell in the round of 64, while Peters remains undefeated in the tournament and continues to the round of 16 this week.
The Tar Heel softball team hosted a doubleheader against the Barton Bulldogs and NC Central Eagles on Sunday afternoon. The Tar Heels kicked off the scoring with a run off a sac fly in the first. In the second, Autumn Owen came up huge, crushing a dead center grand slam to give the Heels a 5-0 lead. UNC pulled the game out of reach with a 2-run shot in the 5th, giving the Heels a 7-run lead. Pitchers Brighton Rogers and Janelle Wilson threw a combined shutout and held Barton to only 2 hits. The Heels finished off the Bulldogs 7-0. The Heels continued their hot streak against NC Central in the second game. It was a bad day to be a softball because Carolina was flying on offense. Whether it was in the park or out of it, UNC's bats always seemed to find a way to make contact. Although no official score was kept because the contest was just a scrimmage, we can be sure that the Heels crossed home plate far more than Central did. The season continues Friday against Boston College.
On Saturday night, UNC ice hockey faced off against East Carolina University at the Orange County Sportsplex, looking to keep their perfect season. With honorary captain Tez Walker watching, Chandler Kotsias broke the ice late in the first period after dangling an ECU defender and putting the puck past the goalie's outstretched glove. ECU would secure an equalizing goal seconds later, but Carolina's fast and physical play resulted in 4 unanswered goals in the second period, like this one off a rebound from Matt Grady, making it 6-1. The Heels continued to pummel the Pirates, tacking on 3 more goals in the third period, all from first-time goal scorers, to end the game with a 9-1 victory.
Came out with a 1-goal lead at the end of the first. Coming out in the second period, we started to throw the body around more, and that's definitely the key to success when it comes to winning games, just playing hard and fast.
After scoring 9 goals for number 9 Tez Walker, UNC hockey will take the ice again on Wednesday for a classic rivalry matchup against Duke.
In this high-tech area of AI and large-screen electronics, let me introduce you to a man in the middle of a throwback to the olden days of baseball in Durham.
Every ballpark has something unique. The Durham Bulls have a blue wall, but it's what's behind it that matters most. Meet 74-year-old Chris Ivey. A job fair changed his life forever.
And when I got there, I saw a listing for scoreboard operator. I said, this has got my name all over it.
He had to wait a couple of weeks, but then the call he wanted finally came.
I got the position, and the rest is history, right?
This is the walk to Chris's office. All he needs is his scorebook, portable TV, water, and most importantly, a fan.
I don't think I could do it without it.
There are only 2 manual scoreboards in the MLB and 8 in the minor leagues. Bulls public address announcer Tony Rigsby is a big fan of this part of the organization.
When the ownership changed in 1991, Mr. Goodman really wanted a manual scoreboard.
The history brings the community together, and Chris is an invaluable part of that.
It's really exciting. Chris knows everybody at the ballpark. If you go with him to a game, he's saying hi to all the ushers. He's saying to a kid, do you need a baseball?
Chris's wife, Virginia, and ballpark friend Samantha have a unique name for him.
He's sort of the mayor of the ballpark.
I can see him as being a mayor because he's very helpful and he's just know-it-all.
And the mayor plans to continue sharing that knowledge.
You sort of wonder, geez, am I going to do this again next year or what? Come January, with about 3 months without any baseball, you sort of get and say, well, what was I thinking? Of course I'm going to do another season.
He doesn't mind the manual labor.
Now, there might be additional scoreboards coming in at some point. I don't know, but I think we'll have the manual one for a long time.
And the Bulls hope to have Chris Ivy for a long time.
The Bulls season is done, but the mayor is already looking forward to April and his return to the inside of the scoreboard.
And we have 2 contenders for this Monday's Play of the Week, featuring Tar Heel ice hockey and #1 women's soccer. The first play is this nifty dangle and goal from Chandler Katsias. He has one defenseman to beat and fakes left to leave the defender clueless, sneaking the puck past ECU's goalie.
The second play we have was a perfectly placed corner kick from Emily Moxley that finds Evelyn Shores in the box for one of Carolina's 4 goals on Saturday night. So how you vote on Tuesday. So tomorrow we will post it on our Sports Extra Instagram page, and be sure to tune in on Friday to see the results.
Now, Caroline, that was super cool to see Chris Ivy's work. What was it like to be behind the board?
It was such a unique experience. I mean, how many people can say they were behind the board like that and behind the Blue Monster? It was super cool. There's such rich history there, and I was blown away to have that experience.
That sounds like such a unique experience. I know I'll have to make a Bulls game now. That does it for this edition of Sports Extra.
We'll be back on Friday with a preview of another exciting weekend in Carolina athletics.